disgrace what they've done to Mumia and the Move people.
Free all political prisoners and free ourselves.
What do you have to say to people about why Delbert and the other Move 9 prisoners should be granted parole?
Mostly not just beyond my father and the fact that they pillaged the village called my family some 30-some-odd years ago. But more importantly, it's just injustice of humanity, period. No one should let it go on, regardless of race, regardless of what sanction or faction they're involved with. Move people are political prisoners. That's the end of the story. It's an unjustifiable imprisonment. It's been long enough. This is a man who has missed the most important moments of my life, the birth of his own grandchildren, along with other members of his own family being murdered on May 13th, 1985. At some point it has to stop.
How often do you get to visit your dad?
I live in Chicago, where he was born and raised, so it's very difficult to get to Philadelphia at times. I went 13 years without being allowed to see him because he was in solitary confinement off and on. So I get up here probably about once a year. If I'm lucky, it'll be twice in a year. And even then, when I go to visit him, I still have to deal with some semantics of systematic BS.
Yeah. And you're able to have full contact visits?
I have full contact. We're able to visit face to face. We hug and kiss each other. We show each other love all the time. We write each other. We talk to each other on the telephone. And yet, if anybody thinks that that's the kind of relationship a father should have with his only daughter, then they need to think again. You know, my family in Chicago, we miss him dearly. My children have seen him as babies and have not been able to visit him since because of the system, because of the way that it's set up. And it's just not right. Righteousness has to come forth and justice prevails at all times.
Why'd you come all the way out from New York City today?
Well, you know, May 13th, 1985, a horrible massacre was committed in the city, and in which 6 adults and 5 children were killed by the state, and I'm sure they would have liked to kill more if they could have. This was not why Move 9 are in prison. Move 9 were already in prison from the previous encounter in 1978, August 8, 1978. But one of the reasons that the bombing happened in 1985 was precisely because the Move people were mobilizing to try to get their people out of prison. And the response of the state was to kill a bunch of them. So we have even more reason to be here now than we did in the past, because now the Move women have been denied parole. And Pam said that they just heard on the radio that a couple of men were denied as well. So it's not surprising, it's disgusting, but in the context, since I work with New York City Jericho, of all political prisoners, we have prisoners who've been turned down parole. Seth is going up now for the 6th time. He's only been turned down 5 in New York. Herman and Jaleel, who are co-defendants in the New York 3, were each turned down 3 times already. Right now they're in California. The judge just said they would come back before parole hearings and then return to California. Any likelihood that they end up getting parole is not very high. But of course we're here in support because people do have the right to have parole. And if a judge gives you a certain sentence, it's not up to the parole board to decide it should be more. And that's happening not only here in Pennsylvania, that's happening throughout the country. We have a brother down in Alabama who's been going up to the board since 1985. He's still in. So, you know, it's a big struggle when it comes to parole. This is a very important and urgent case, specifically the Move 9. You know, people should not be sentenced just because they're members of a family. Because that's what the judge said. I have no idea who shot Officer Ram. I wanted to be tried as a family, so I sentenced him as a family. 9 people cannot kill one cop. One go.
And you look at how, you know, the average sentence for 3rd-degree murder is 7.5 to 15 years.
Right.
So they've already served 2 to 3 times that.
Exactly.
I mean, in light of that, and in light of these bogus stipulations that they used for keeping people, why do you think they did that? Why won't they release them?
Oh, they won't release them clearly because they are who they are. They're political prisoners. This city and this country knows that the Move organization is constantly fighting against the state. They're constantly mobilizing, you know. So if they let out these prisoners who will obviously continue to do the same, you know, that's the only reason. That's why they're political prisoners. They're political prisoners precisely because they're members of the Move organization. and they were punished for being members of the organization and for fighting for what they believe in. And supposedly in this country, we have the right to fight for what we believe in. But as we see in practice, that is often not true. If you say something that the government doesn't like, well, then you don't have the right. If you say something that they like, then it's okay. And the thing of the sentencing, that happens all the time. I mean, look at Mumia. Even if he did, which we know he didn't, but even if he had killed that police officer, that should have been a manslaughter charge, and he would have been out on the street already. And even though he's innocent, he's still in prison on death row. So, it's just another case. And of course, they're so intertwined with the end.
Students for a Democratic Society is working to address the root issues of all the social ills that America is facing right now, and police brutality and racism are definitely a big part of the problem that we see in America today, where poor communities are being occupied by police and terrorized by police. As the rich get richer and the poor get poor, more and more police are necessary to control poor communities and low-income communities, and the U.S. currently has the highest incarceration rate in all of the world. Philadelphia has the highest incarceration rate in the United States of America. The root economic issues and the real social issues are not being talked about in the mainstream media. And also in the wake of what happened this past Monday, where a number of police officers were videotaped brutally beating up three Philadelphia residents who were found not to have a gun, not to have any weapons, and this war is just taking over America, and especially low-income communities in America.
Take a look at this disturbing video in Philadelphia. It is a confrontation between Philadelphia police officers and three men, and as you can see, the officers are seen on tape hitting the men with batons and kicking them while they were on the ground.
We need to organize among ourselves to create a kind of community that we want to live in and we want our kids to live in future generations.
What years did you serve in the military?
I was in 64 and 65.
Did you serve in Vietnam? Or?
No, I did not, and there would have been a problem if they wanted me to go over there. It was just beginning at the time.
How does an anti-war critique, how does that relate to, standing up for the Move 9?
Well, for me, it's all one thing. But today, I'm trying to get everybody to go up to New York City on May 25th. For memorial service we have every year for the vets. For any vet, for the vets that are sick, coming back injured, and especially with post-traumatic stress syndrome.
It's raining in America, and it's been raining for a long, long time. It's raining blows from policemen's nightsticks, and many of us think it's a crime. Violence by the police is American as apple pie. Many of the arrests are beaten, and a shocking number have died. Over 200 have perished since September 11th, 2001. Just in New York and New Jersey alone, many executed by a gun. Bullies in blue love the power. It gives them a rush to see people cower. Give a little man a badge and a gun, he'll dish out a beating just for fun. Police force is what they're called, and force is what they like to use. And it's over the top, this violence by cops. Many they arrest or abuse. We've all heard the term, driving while black. If they're in a nice car, they must be dealing crack. The color of their skin, that's their real crime. And if there was justice in America, brutal cops would do hard time. But that rarely happens, that cops have to pay for any of their violent acts. They just lie on the reports that they fill out, and the lies are treated as facts. If you're black or you're brown when you're busted, you're lucky if you don't end up black and blue, because beating the crap out of people of color is what many cops like to do. These uniformed sadists, these government thugs, are addicted to violence like junkies to drugs. Many they arrest are treated like a king, like the beating they gave Rodney, because that's their thing. There are many good policemen who try to keep the peace, but too many are violent and trigger-happy. We the people that demand that it cease. It's time to wake up, America, and it's time to face the facts. that many criminals wear blue uniforms and should be imprisoned for their illegal acts. It's time for us to rise up, and it's time to take to the streets, because these are the people's precincts and these are the people's beats. Don't sit back on the sidelines. The people have the power, but it has to be taken. It won't be given. And now is the moment, the hour. Yeah, brothers and sisters, now's the time to stop these endless fascist crimes. We owe this to our children. It's the least that we can do to stop this wave of brutality by those who are dressed in blue. Boom!
Hey! All right! I would like to say to you that you are doing great work, you journalists from Mumia. The thing of getting those pictures from that photographer of the crime scene was just tremendous. And the fact that they actually ended up getting on mainstream news